Habari ma Africa, mimi ni King, nina furaha kukutana na wewe. Asante kwa kutazama King Cyril. Ladies and gentlemen, to a surprising turning of event, Cyril Ramaphosa, the president that we always say can't make decisions, has made a decisions against the Democratic Alliance. Well, the Deputy Minister of Trade, Andrew Whitfield, has been fired from his role as a deputy minister, and in the passages, the reason that is being given is that he traveled unauthorized to America with the Democratic Alliance delegation. Now, he said he asked the president 10 days before boarding the plane, but the president ignored him and never said anything, and he traveled anyway because he was obligated by his own party to do so. John Steenhuisen and Helen Zille are not happy about Mr. Andrew being fired, ladies and gentlemen. They are giving the president of this country 48 hours to also act on ANC cadres and ministers that have been found on the crossfire of the Zondo State Capture Commission. Now, how do you then make this type of a threat when you have made other threats in the past, Democratic Alliance, where you said, if you sign this is expropriation, we will show you, and you did nothing. You did nothing. So nobody is going to be scared of any threat of 48 hours of the DA. We know them as crybabies. I'm surprised they are not going to run to court. They can't run to court anyway because it is the president's powers to do as he please with appointing and firing of ministers. The question is there going to be more cabinet reshuffling, yes or no? Let's talk about that, Paseta, and much more.
Welcome to King Said So, Africa's one land, one language, one currency, one army on King Said So. Africans can unite. Your Pan-Africanist podcast. Enjoy.
Peace in Pan-Africanism to all my African brothers and sisters from all around the world. Welcome back to King Said So. I'm your host, Kagiso Hlongwane, hosting Jiva Sono, and we're back at it again with another one. And this time around, we are very happy to report that the Deputy Minister of Trade has been fired. I'm talking about Andrew Whitfield. Andrew Whitfield is gone. He's no longer with us in the cabinet. The bloated cabinet that has got unnecessary numbers of deputy ministers that are doing nothing. They don't have a job, ladies and gentlemen. Before I do that, ladies and gentlemen, you all know that on July the 14th, it will be the birthday of Paseta, the anniversary. Someone said I must say anniversary, not birthday. Our first anniversary of Paseta, and we are turning 1 year old. And we are asking for 1,000 people to each donate 50 rand. 1,000 people is donating 50 rand. Please, ladies and gentlemen, let's do it for the month of July. It's because we want to start with the first phase of our building project. I was at the school grounds with the constructor walking around where about we are going to place things, where are we going to build, and he's very excited to start. And we are just shorting a few thousand rands so that we can get the ball rolling. So please get in touch with us on www.paseta.co.za and make sure that you support the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture by contributing your 50 rand and playing your role in building the school. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start with Andrew. Andrew was with Batuman Clement Manyatela, and Clement asked him, did you ask to travel as a minister? You're obligated to ask the president and get permission to travel overseas. You can't just pack and go as a minister and do as you please. And Andrew answered that question because Andrew, they all wanted to go to America and speak. You remember when the DA sent the delegation to America to go and speak on behalf of the country? Well, somebody had to pay for it. Somebody had to pay for it. You're just traveling around doing as you please. You think Cyril Ramaphosa has got no backbone. Cyril Ramaphosa will show you flames. Make example, now in Japan, we won. When there's other people that travel, when we won in Japan, Cyril Ramaphosa will make an example about you because the Freedom Front Plus have been traveling also. Nothing has been happening to them. But let's listen quickly to Andrew What did he do? Did he write an email? Did he request? Did he get permission? Did he get any answers? Maybe you guys did not watch it. I watched it on your behalf, but I brought a clip here so that you can know what's going on. Listen to this.
As per the ministerial handbook, what did he say when you sent that request to go to the US?
He didn't reply to the request. The ministerial handbook or the executive handbook requires of us, it says that members of the executive should request permission to travel abroad. I did that. It wasn't an official government trip. It was a trip that I was requested to go on by my party, who I also account to, obviously. And after 9 days of following up consistently, the email was acknowledged. The receipt was acknowledged, but we never received a confirmation or a negative or an affirmative response to the letter. And I took the decision to abide by the request of my party to travel abroad.
Yeah, well, Andrew, you have sent the request to the presidential office and you did not get any answer. And you still traveled, and that is why Sukshay. Asnandaba now. Asnandaba now. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we are waiting for this moment where a cabinet reshuffle is going to happen, because it's going to test the material of this government of national confusion. If really the DA is going to stick out when the ANC takes power from them, are they still going to stick there? So the deputy ministers of the DA, they better be careful, because I strongly believe that there will be another shuffle again, and more DA ministers and deputy ministers are going to be removed from office. I strongly believe that. The reason I'm saying that is because Cyril Ramaphosa is going to want to play game. You can't be a president and you don't do a reshuffle. Remember the other time he did a SIM swap with Tembu Nkadimeng. He just did a SIM swap. You go there, you come here, let me just SIM swap you. But this time around, he is going to do something that is going to shock the DA. And the DA threatening him by saying, we are giving you 48 hours to make drastic changes by removing the ministers that are implicated in the state capture and those who have benefited from VBS. We know who they are talking about, but the DA doing that is the most funniest thing ever. You can't John Steenhuisen. First of all, John Steenhuisen, you've got no power when you speak, nobody takes you serious. Nobody takes John Steenhuisen serious when he speaks. So him wasting his breath, literally, to warn the president and give him 48 hours. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Sanyeli president, 48 hours. Listen to what John Steenhuisen said.
I'm here at the Cape Town International Convention Centre, where I've just delivered a speech on the floor of the parliamentary sitting in the budget vote debate around the firing yesterday of the DA Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield by the President. And I think if we start to dig a little bit deeper into why Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield was really fired, one will see it was because he was doing his job. He was asking uncomfortable questions about the lottery tender award by the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. He had asked some very uncomfortable questions about the transformation fund that is busy being set up by that department, and he had raised serious concerns about some of the persons being nominated for the board of the IDC. I believe that these are the real reasons why Minister Whitfield has had to be moved from that position. Now, it is very clear that this cannot stand. So, we have given the President 48 hours to act similarly against the other members of his party who are guilty or facing serious charges or who are mentioned in the Zondo Commission report, to ensure that they are held accountable. If the President is wanting to clean up his cabinet, then we would like to suggest that he starts by sweeping outside his own front door before sweeping outside the DA's front door. When compared with the acts of omission and commission of so many other ministers and deputy ministers that are sitting around the cabinet table, these are people who've been implicated in the Zondo Commission of Inquiry. These are people who stand accused of very serious fraud and benefiting from the looting at the VBS Bank. These are people who stand accused of misleading Parliament and manufacturing committees that ostensibly selected politically compromised candidates for the CETA boards. How is it that all of these people retain their jobs, but Andrew Whitfield loses his? Now, we're giving the president 48 hours to show us clearly that he is a man of his word, and that when he's willing to take action against DA members, he must take concomitant action against members of his own party who are guilty of far more serious things than Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield could ever be accused of.
Gentlemen. Yeah, the DA, if we had to take all the threats that the DA has threatened the ANC and the president to the bank, we will be millionaires by now. We will be millionaires. They threatened with the Bella Bill. They threatened with the NHI. They threatened with the land expropriation. They are always threatening as if they as a DA. And like I said, nobody takes John Steenhuisen serious. Rather let Helen Zille speak. At least she's got more back to a bite, or more bite in a back, whatever you say, however you say. But there is nobody takes John Steenhuisen serious. Nobody in his party. He put his friends there in parliament. He put his friends there in the ministries, and nobody takes him serious except that little circle of his. In fact, they are looking to replace him. Don't be shocked in 2029 where the federal chairperson comes back and says, no, I want to be DA leader again, and puts Tony back there, and then she goes there, because nobody takes John Steenhuisen serious, ladies and gentlemen. So giving the president 48 hours is just a pure joke. We have had a lot of these jokes from the DA. Nobody takes them serious. There's on the commission. I'm happy that now it's today that you can point out the issues of the Zondo Commission. Because somebody or in your team has been fired, today you can point out the corruption of the Zondo Commission. And in fact, why is it that DA, if you really want to talk about corruption, are you not talking about Pala? If you want to talk about corruption, talk about corruption. Talk about it, and talk about it freely. And also, Papa, when John Steenhuisen, you are a minister, when you're a minister, we can reshuffle you anytime. Can reshuffle you, man. You are a leader, DA. The president can reshuffle you. So if I was you, I would count my words. Because the president can remove you there and put King Said So as the Minister of Agriculture. I've got more experience, more qualifications than you anyway. So you be careful what you are saying when John Steenhuisen. Be very careful what you are saying. Because so this is on the commission. You see the way they are raising these points and the VBS and whatever, it will come back to bite these ANC cadres, unfortunately. Remember, the Zondo Commission was the Zuma Commission, actually. It was targeted for the Zuma and his faction. But now it's overlapping because other people have been named and all of those things. So I will close by saying this. I think another cabinet reshuffle is on the uprising. It's coming. And Cyril Ramaphosa is going to show us that he's not scared of the DA. And that the DA will not go anywhere. Remember, they can't go anywhere. So get ready. Very soon, something will happen. I know Cyril, we don't trust him. It's like cupcakes, Shem. He's just such a bubbly person. He's not a person that reacts in anger or reacts boldly in things that he does. But I'm waiting. He's not gonna act in 48 hours. He can't act in 48 hours. But in the near future, maybe in July, he will then start something and reshuffle that cabinet of his. And some ANC ministers that are chacharach, they are going to jump. They're going to jump. Tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen, on the comment section. Let's meet on the next one. Until we meet again, don't forget to pray. But after you pray, stand up, African child. Do your best so that God can do the rest. Peace in Pan-Africanism. I salute you.